Welcome or welcome back, beautiful souls, to the channel. I'm Chica, your conscious mentor, and today I will be covering the Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, what you need to know about the Saturn retrograde from June 5th, 2022 to October 22nd, 2022. Yeah, that is a very long time. So no matter when you see this video, this is going to really give you an energy update of the top things you need to know. I will be pulling out some cards. I'll be channeling as well. And before we get into the video, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, like, subscribe, put notification bell so you don't miss a video. I do shadow work, energy healing, moon videos, astrology videos, all the things on helping people to tap into their shadow work and inner healing, as well as expanding on, their internal consciousness and state of being. So if that is something that you're interested in, don't forget to subscribe and like and share with your friends. And if you feel called to go deeper into your healing, don't forget to apply for my one-on-one mentoring down below, to add yourself to my courses. And I also have some retreats as well if you'd like to do some medicine healing in person or attend one of my retreats. All that information down below for you lovely souls. Let's get into the Aquarius Saturn retrograde and what you need to know. So I don't know if there's any people in their Saturn return right now. If you are, let me know with an Aquarius emoji and let me know how it's going for you. I am currently peaking and ending mine. Mine is quick but intense. And as a Scorpio, the shadow and rebirth thing, if there's any other Scorpios out there, it's like we constantly have to live through death and rebirth, right? So this Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, what exactly do we have to expect? The first thing is Saturn is the parent energy. My sage is going crazy. Saturn is the parent energy. What does that mean? It means that it rules responsibility. It rules allowing ourselves to take full responsibility of our internal parenting. And this is where, the way we were brought up can tend to be a big part of our soul lessons. So the best way to know how Saturn will affect you in your life is to look at your birth chart, use astro.com, best website personally that I think to use and most accurate, and look it up and look at your Saturn planet and what house it falls into. You then want to research that house. For example, when I look at mine is ruled with, finances, money, career, purpose, in that space, right? So with me, my Saturn has a lot to do with what I'm doing here, my space, how I'm helping the world. Aquarius is all about the time of the new age. So a lot of you that are in your Saturn return right now, and even if you aren't, this is for you. You were brought up in a time where the internet became a big thing, right? Why we have YouTube, why we have Instagram. And your purpose is to utilize this online platform to help you out. So what retrograde is doing is it's bringing in responsibility within yourself. So the first thing of how the Aquarius Saturn retrograde is going to affect us between June 5th, 2022 to October 22nd, 2022 is take ownership on what you need to do to keep your energy positive. So obviously, as we get into parenting and taking responsibility, it's not always fun. It's not always fun to get our finances in order. It's not always fun to look at our reality and see what we have to change. It's not always fun to, sorry, there was a bug there. It's not always fun to, look at how we have closed off our heart in relationships with people. So really looking at how can you stay positive during this time. Don't get consumed by the reaction of your human. Our human can feel different things, but our spirit is always wanting alignment. What I mean by human is that if we're driving on the road and we get road rage and we get angry, that's our human feeling angry, right? But our spirit, why is it angry? Does it feel like someone took advantage of them? Does it feel that is the belief system that caused them to react that way? It could be also that you're going through a shedding process, of your internal identity. And that one thing is what takes your human off to react. So just remembering that emotions aren't forever during this Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. And that we have to look for internal being. And a lot of the times when we react, the word that's coming up is justice. You know, justice of feeling that people have taken advantage of you, justice of, you know, where people are reacting at you. And during the Saturn retrograde, it's about staying positive and knowing that's not forever, but not being afraid to communicate your boundaries. Remembering Aquarius is all a very communicative sign. Communication is key for Aquarius. If you're not communicating, it's going to be hard. So the shadow work prompt that I wrote down for you is, how can you be positive when things happen in your life that you don't expect? As this retrograde is going to move things out, shed some things, letting go is going to be a big part of this theme. Letting go of old patterns, letting go of procrastination, letting go of the feeling that I'm not 100% healed, so I can't step into this. I'm not 100% where I want to be, so I can't do this. Your butt, right? So instead of making your butt and focusing on what you don't have, stay positive to what you do, because the gratitude of what you do have right now is what's going to help you move through this retrograde. The second thing you need to know about this Aquarius retrograde is, really tuning into our responsibility in this 3D world. I'm going to be so strict with this in a way that's so loving. Recently, as a business owner and a healer, right? We have things we have to do. Like, I was talking to one of my clients about this. There's admin. We love being healers. We love being space holders. We love owning our business. We love doing things like that. For example, if you are a business owner. But we also have to keep track of our finances. We also have to, it's our divine right to give the money back to universe, right? In whatever way that is, whether that is donating to nonprofit as your responsibility, or giving it to an organization. So like, your taxes, for example. When we disconnect from our human, it makes it really hard for the spirit to feel safe in the body. So here it's really understanding, what are the 3D responsibilities of your life that you are ignoring right now during Saturn retrograde? Because during Saturn retrograde, we are not being able to run away from it. This is a time where you can start to sit and parent yourself and say, okay, I don't like doing these things, but I need to do it in order for me to focus on the stuff that I do love to do. So planning on where you want to go, and how is clearing up, decluttering came in just in a second. I want to pull out a card for this. How is decluttering, the things that you're avoiding? Let's see what cards we got. Okay. So the first one that's picking up to me is round and round. Okay. So this is the cycle. There are certain things during this Saturn retrograde in Aquarius during June 5th to October 22nd, 2022. You have to ask yourself, what are you going around and round about? What are you avoiding in your life right now? Because during this time, it's all about not avoiding. I'm going to read this card. We have 2 5, so action to change. If you want your life to change, you got to stop saying, I can't do this, but I can't do this, but what can you do? Spiral quality of events when a lesson isn't quite integrated. Cycles are challenged to break. Revisiting the pattern is a new perspective. So during the retrograde, you guys are going to be able to see that, being able to understand and parent yourself to see that there are these 3D responsibilities in this world. It's also looking at the shadow on a spiritual level and seeing that there are certain events, there are certain things that will repeat. I love the seasons because this retrograde is hitting us in summer to fall, right? So summer is flourishing. We're joyful, we're more social. There's a lot of big, memorable things that will happen for a lot of us during the summer, whether that is buying a house, getting engaged, getting married, having a child, separation, stepping away from a relationship to step into your own power. But in order for those things to come to your divine right, for your divine being, we need to break cycles. So I want you to ask yourself, for this Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, what cycles do I need to break? What cycles are coming up again and again and again? And it could be a relationship conversation you need to have with yourself and that spirit. Doesn't mean that you have to have that, with that person face to face and they're human, but you can have that conversation in their spirit and see, what is this person teaching me through them coming into my life again? What are these people that aren't ready to commit to a relationship teaching me? What is the fact that I'm not able to make money in my business and get clients? You know, why do I keep on getting this issue, right? There is a challenge. There is a belief system that needs to be broken between June 5th and October 22nd. The appearance of this card is a reminder that although it appears may be gone backwards, the truth is that you're standing at its highest level. Looking down at the circumstances, you will learn something to do something better, breaking cycles to set up the past. You actually have a bird's eye view, and your initial footprint can access the wisdom of these lessons to be learned. So here it's really saying that stop doing things the same during this Saturn retrograde. It's time for you to think outside the box. It's time for you to take baby steps, to act like a child that's learning to walk for the first time and do new things. You've been learning and, you know, coping with shadow work and approaching relationships and approaching your career and approaching change, and you've been doing it the same. But knowing that, I always tell all of my clients, integration is more important than the healing. A lot of us have gone through really big life changes, right? And we need to understand that integration doesn't have a time. It's to be determined, which means that you are going to get pieces of your medicine of how you can change the cycles, change this perspective of why these things happened in your life for you to attain where you're going. But again, round and round, this lesson is going to keep coming back. And every time you have the opportunity to have a different perspective, have a different gift, have a different understanding of what this means. And this brings me to the why card. Your why. During the Saturn retrograde, a lot of you are finding your why. A lot of you are discovering through these cycles, through this round and round, through the repeating. Maybe it takes the 50th time, but you're understanding why you're here. During a retrograde, this is a lot of a good time. I'm feeling it in my throat, just speaking about it. Like my throat is feeling it. This is a time for you to speak your truth into existence. So a lot of you are going to be challenged to speak your truth, whether that's using it on media, you know, speaking truth through that. What are some things that you've been wanting to talk about, wanting to be seen, and you keep saying, I don't feel seen. But if you're not seeing yourself in your truth and allowing yourself to be authentic and pushing through that fear, because the fear will always be there, whether you are not yourself or not. Difference is fear when you are trying to allow yourself to fully be authentic. When you are allowing yourself to be authentic, it's just the fear that, you know, you don't know what's on the other side. And let me tell you, there's a whole other explanation of why you're here. It will all make sense, is what I'm saying with the Saturn retrograde. So here it's all about understanding your why you're here. And the next few months there's certain events that are going to remind you of your why. You know, your why you're in this committed relationship, why you want to start to committing to someone, why you want to step away from a relationship. This is also a time where you're going to learn, you know, responsibility of values. You know, if you want to have that house, if you want to have that financial freedom, you need to put some things in play. The feminine needs to dance with the masculine. Feminine energy is the dreamer. It's the thinking, it's the manifestation, it's the stuff that all of you love to talk about. But what about the masculine action, the discipline? That's where Saturn comes in. It's taking all the things you dreamed of, and it's bringing the karmic lessons you need to learn in order for you to take action. And then we get the message in the bottle. A lot of you need to observe what lessons you're getting throughout this time. Your guides are going to be more louder, if you will, on the changes that are coming for you and the new beginnings that are about to embark. This brings me to the third thing you need to know about the Saturn retrograde. Internal parenting. How was I parented? What habits have I created based on my inner child's parenting? So the best way of understanding how we can foster and understand that every single one of us is a limitless being, right? You are never in a space of scarcity. The only reason that you believe or you have told yourself you are is because there was some event, there was some person, there was some voice within yourself that has told you otherwise. But you've always been a very abundant and limitless person, regardless of what position you are in this present moment. So what you can do to help you with your Saturn retrograde, especially those on your Saturn return, go to your inner child, tune into your inner child and see how were they parented. And I want to pull a card for this. Let's see what your inner child has to share. What card do we have for the inner child of the collective? Okay. Time for a nap. Okay. I'm going to explain this card. Time for a nap. Let's do this one. So we have 24. That's the number. Rest, rejuvenation, renewal, temporary non-action, and allowing dreams to arise. So a lot of you had to grow up a little quicker, especially in the Saturn return. Active, maybe very energetic household that you grew up in. What this is telling me is that right now you're in a space where you don't have to be fight or flight. And in the Saturn retrograde, it's saying that you have an opportunity to understand your inner child and for them to come into a safe space to dream again. A lot of you didn't have a space to be a child. A lot of you didn't have a space to dream. And what this Aquarius Saturn retrograde is really remembering us and reminding us is dream so big that it's beyond the stars. Allow your inner child to dream. And when I think about this, it kind of brings me to an emotional excitement, but also this moment, because I remember as a child, I wanted to be a doctor, I wanted to be a farmer, I wanted to be a dancer, I wanted to be all the things. And I didn't even think about, do I have time? I was just an abundant soul saying, I want to do it all because I know I can. It wasn't until I got these belief systems, whether it was the systems of the schools, whether it was, the comments of my parents saying, why didn't you bring 100% at home? This is 90, whereas 100. It wasn't until all those things that created imprints in our belief systems, in our soul, to think that we aren't able to attain everything that our inner child dreamed. So go back and say, how was your inner child restricted? And how did restriction become a big part of how you were able to see your bigger picture, to know that you're limitless? And then also asking yourself, this is an opportunity to do some shadow work of inner child healing. So this is my opportunity. I'm going to invite you, if you are into inner child, I have a course called Phoenix. It is healing the inner child. Please go get it and do yourself a favor. It is one of my best courses that I have, and you get the whole access to it for a year. And we go deep into understanding how to connect with your inner child. We go over sibling wounds. We go over the parent wounds. We go into who are you? Who is your inner child? Because we are just an inner child in an adult body. We're still a child here. So I'm going to highly recommend this because shadow work starts with inner child healing. So if you are wanting to go deep or you want to revisit, some of the big habits and belief systems that are coming, join Phoenix, the course. It will be linked down below for you souls. The fourth thing you need to know about the Saturn retrograde is that a test of karmic lessons of your soul. I want you all to look up on astro.com on your birth chart, your Chiron. What is your Chiron? Your Chiron are your soul wounds. Depending on the sign that it's in, it will tell you if you look up Chiron in Virgo, Chiron in Leo, whatever that your Chiron is. It will tell you why your Chiron is what it is. And if you look at the degree that it is in, that is the year that you actually made that lesson within your soul. So for example, my degree Chiron is 7. So I know at 7 years old, that belief system, that hardship was instilled in me. So what this does is you get an opportunity to reparent and go back and do the Inner Child Phoenix course and do inner child healing, where you can say they're safe to come into this space. What happened around that time, or their teen years, whatever degree it's in. And what does it rule? Where is the Saturn on your chart? So again, looking into that, what does it rule into your life? Because when you can look at your soul lessons and connect it to your Saturn, you're going to see there's a connection. They are going to be parallel. That is where you need to do the work and understanding the lessons that you have to make in this life to come into ease. Saturn is going to have 2 sets of people during the Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. There are going to be the people who have gotten their Saturn, you know, their soul lessons, and are going to still keep getting that karmic lesson coming up. But this time it's easier to deal with it because you see it and you're like, oh, I know Spirit's testing me here. I know this lesson. I got you. And you know how to respond to it. You know how to create those boundaries. You know how to use your voice to vocalize your needs and communicate safely. You know how to create. You know how to step into your authentic self. And then there's going to be the other half. There's going to be a little bit of a bigger lens, especially those on their Saturn return, where you're going to get these big boom, boom lessons. And you're going to have an opportunity to clear some karma for you and all those related, before you, after you, and all those connected. So I want you to think about what is some karmic stuff that keep coming up for you in your life. And when we talk about karma, they can be things from this lifetime, and they can be things that have been long past this lifetime, which is why when I do one-on-ones, I do past life regression with people when I heal. And again, if you are interested in working with your Saturn, please sign up for my one-on-ones down below if you feel called to, if you're ready for that. But I do go into this. And one of the biggest things I tell my clients is that when we can tune into our karma, sometimes we don't even need to know what it is. We just need to know. And a lot of the people in the Saturn retrograde, where you're going to be tested is your throat chakra a lot. Voice, justice, fairness, being seen, fear of being abandoned. If these words are triggering you, this is where the Saturn retrograde is going to really affect you in your life. This is a time where you're really honoring, you know, what am I here to heal? And a lot of us, I'm going to share this because it's going to echo to you. A lot of you, you're the first one in your generation to do this healing. You're the first one in your ancestral lineage. But remembering that you are showing up for these karmic lessons, these Chiron wounds, to heal for yourself first. And in doing that, it ripples into your life. So again, what do you need to speak up with? How do you say your name? Your name is a very energetic point. I talked about this a lot in Lapis. That's another one if you're feeling called to work with your throat chakra. Lapis course is amazing for that. That will be down below. Your voice, your name. Your name has a vibration and a frequency that your soul has chosen. Your soul has divinely chosen that name. And a lot of the times we're scared of saying our names. We write it on things. We put it on documents. But when we say our name, it's an energy. It's a frequency. It is an energy of all those before and after. So understand, what does your name feel like? Do you feel shameful to say your name? Do you say it tall and proud? Because when you can say your name, there is a frequency that is there. All in all, the Saturn retrograde in Aquarius is all about understanding that inner justice in ourselves, that inner fairness of ourselves, being gentle, which is why we had take a nap. Be kinder to yourself during the Saturn retrograde. Have more self-care. I'm not talking put some spa and take some little Instagram stories and we're good. No, I'm talking about, what does your body need to feel in the state of being? What does your body need to be in this conscious state of being? Not a bath is going to work for everyone. Okay? And that's why I'm all about asking your body intuitively, starting to be more intuitive eating practices, intuitive practices with your body of like what it needs. What does my body need right now? Literally talking to your body as a human should. Literally. That's going to help. Not just doing a meditation every morning because that's going to, I'm going to be like perfect and like balanced. Not all the time. You know, sometimes a meditation for me is like, I don't need stillness, I need movement. And that's my meditation. That's my conscious state of being. So ask your body what it needs to align in its frequency. So when these lessons do come up, you're in a state that you can see all perspectives, which is the round and round. You can get to the center of this cycle and see something different every time you look at it. And you can expand and clear those karmic cords. The last thing you need to know about the Saturn retrograde in Aquarius between June 5th and October 22nd, 2022 is that those having a Saturn return in Aquarius, it's a physical, emotional, and spiritual advance. It requires slowing down. Sure, do that. Major changes are big in our life, but we need to integrate. This Saturn retrograde is about integration. What does integration mean? It means allowing your light body, your spirit, to catch up with your human body. When we do shadow work, practices, meditations, energy healing, you're in a frequency and your human needs time to integrate that. And that means that you might feel more exhausted. That means you might need more sleep. That means you might feel a peak of energy at weird times of the night. These things are normal. For example, the changes you may occur during this time is a new job, relationship status changes, commitment. Maybe you step away from a relationship. Maybe you go into a relationship. Buying a house. Saturn's all about responsibility. You're being called to set grounds. That's a big one for me. Making sure I'm grounded in home, what's home to me. Clearing karmic finances. You know, where is your perspective? Have your inner child saw your parents struggle? So for you, you think that finances are scarce, even though it actually is not. Remember, we are infinite beings. Ancestral healing. What is your history of your ancestors? A lot of us don't want to look at it. A lot of us do not want to look at it because maybe there's slavery there. Maybe there's suppression. Maybe there's segregation. Maybe there's anger. Maybe there's unfairness. Maybe there's genocide. These are all triggering and things that every single one of us has been part of those stories. We have to allow ourselves to heal, not healing that time because maybe we weren't born in that time, but the way that our great-great-great-grandparents were raised made a big difference down the line to us of how we saw the world, about how open we were. So this Saturn retrograde is not only reparenting our soul and our spirit, but then also lineage. There's a lot of womb work that's coming up or sacral work that's coming up just talking about this. You know, the sacral is the portal connection to all lineages and ancestral DNA. If you want to do anything to shift the DNA, I always work with the sacral with people. And again, if that's something that you're interested in, I would highly suggest you checking out my retreats. I have some beautiful retreats that are coming up, and one of them is going to be on ancestral healing. That's happening at the end of this year. I have one in Peru that's coming up in August, and there's much more. So again, if that is something you're interested in, let me know. If you'd like to go deeper, just one-on-one, I have that option as well. Let's go into angel numbers before we end this video. So angel numbers are big, and I wanted to look at the frequency of the number June 5th, 2022, and where it ended on October 22nd, 2022. And there's some deep numbers there. So June is all about change and new beginnings. We have the 5 that's there. When I added the numbers together, the number of June, the number of the date, and the numbers of the year, it brought me to 15. 15 has 1 in 5, right? And that is new changes. 6, when we add it together, is conflict and resolving conflict, resolving new perspectives. So during this Saturn retrograde, what we're being called to start off in June, the energy we're starting off with is there are changes that we are meant to do and we have to take full ownership with. We've been putting this on a back burner, and now it's being called for us to do something about it. New beginnings, knowing that we're never 100% ready. We never are. I think a lot of people think that we have to have certain things in tune. I would lie to you if I said that I'm 100% healed and that's why I'm a healer. Whenever I am working with other people, I do believe that they are also giving me something for me to see within themselves, and I need to, be that teacher student in between. So again, new beginnings, bringing in that understanding that the beginning, there's no such thing as a beginning and end. It's a continuum. So if you decide a decision right now to do something to change your life, whether it's buying a home, starting a relationship, being committed, and starting dating again, or as simple as finding your identity, that's a huge thing for me, like changing my identity, who I relate to, whether that is, who you are, how you show up in the world, your sexuality, whatever it is, what is that new beginning that you are coming into to understand. Then we forward to October of what is going to happen. Endings. You end and you clear karmic stuff from your lineage, from all relations, You end all of the cycles that you've been coming back and back and back again. And when they do come up in seasons, we will find ourselves being masters at healing it, because again, this YouTube channel is all about finding out for you to be a master of your own healing. So I would hope that at the end of all this, you can kind of come to that space. So I really hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm going to end with some prompts for you. The first thing you want to work on, you can write this down if this helps. What are some responsibilities that your 3D human needs to take ownership in? And this is talking about taxes, finances, setting up that masculine to allow the feminine to flourish. We're dancing with the two. It is a ballroom dance throughout the Saturn retrograde. Remember, we need both within ourselves. How was your inner child parented, and how did that create maybe some control in your masculine, or maybe it made some fear of your feminine? What are some ways that you can reparent yourself in this present moment to help you go where you need to go? What is your Chiron? What is your Saturn? Where is your Saturn placed? And seeing what are the synchronizations or the patterns between Saturn and your Chiron. And lastly, is there any karmic stuff that's coming up for you? Things and patterns that are coming round and round and round that you've either been avoiding or been working on for a long time. And there's this part of that story that you're ready to bring to an ending. So remembering that all these prompts are things you can work on. You can write it in your journal and just work on it along the way. And, this will help you, and come back to this video to get a little bit of a refresher. Let us pull one card for an affirmation, because I'm all about affirmations. And let me know down below what resonated for you for this retrograde. Are you excited to take full ownership of your life, responsibility? I remember my dad used to say, with great power comes responsibility. I used to think that was a bad thing, but it is not, because I do believe that each soul has a responsibility of themselves and how they show up in the world as their sole purpose. And with that power, we take the responsibility of sharing light with it and sharing truth with that as well. So of course we need to be responsible to, bring the best for all beings that are connected to us, because connection is everything at the end of the day. So let's see what card we have for this Saturn retrograde. I know that I cannot change the past. Woo, that's the card that I felt called to pull. And that one is all, giving me sacral and root chakra vibes. You cannot regret the past. You can always move forward, however. So really asking yourself, how can I move forward from this, from my past? Your past is not who you are, but a lot of us allow it to be. And of course, it's going to be scary going through change. Fear is a good thing sometimes. It's a good thing to know what we have to step away from to protect us, which is why rejection is a big, important part for spirit to protect us. But it's also an opportunity for us to understand that something big is about to change, and I don't know what it is, and I can surrender to that, but I'm also willing to show up and do the work. And when I mean do the work where you're meant to do it divinely. So that's where that dance between feminine and masculine needs to come in. So I hope you enjoyed this video and this explanation. Let me know what resonated down below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, like, subscribe, put notification bells, and if you feel called to go deeper, you can join my courses, my retreats, my medicine ceremonies, as well as my one-on-one programs. All that good stuff is down below. Have a great Saturn retrograde. You can get through it. All those in my Saturn return, I know you, I feel you. We're almost there. You got this. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.